This is the Haulin Assets podcast where we show you how to start and run your own trucking company. Ever wanted to go out on your own? Follow Chris as he goes through the highs and lows of running on his own authority.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Haulin Assets podcast, episode number 105. We're talking about May 2022 financials today. I say the year just in case, when you're listening to this in the year 2080 and this is still totally relevant, I just want to make sure people...
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm Craig, your host. Over there, he's Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Building a legacy over here.
That's right. That's right. 50. This is when we were building this studio, my dad called it a 50-year building because we built it so solidly. He's like, oh, yeah, this will easily be around 50 years.
We can record for a while.
This is our 50-year podcast, Chris.
Cool. Okay. All right.
So we're talking about May financials. Before we do, Chris, you told me last time that truck number 7 was really close. Is that still true?
6.
Truck 6 is really close.
Truck 6 is actually on the road.
Oh, good.
It just got on the road this last week.
Okay.
And truck 7 is really close.
Okay, so truck 7 is being delivered?
We've taken possession of it.
Oh my gosh.
It should get on the road this coming week.
That's so cool.
So yeah, it's coming a little, to be honest with you, a little bit fast.
Yeah.
Because truck 8's not very far behind. Mm-hmm. Then we should get a little bit of a break until 9 and 10.
Now, I assume we'll talk about the market and the rates and the what's going on kind of in the world economically generally later on in the podcast. But because we are where we are right now, things are not looking quite as hot as they were 6 months ago or whatever. Does that make you nervous? Do you feel like, we're expanding too fast? I wish I could put off truck 8. How are you feeling?
It does make me feel a little bit nervous. I mean, in the market, one of the things that causes market up and downs is uncertainty. And it's one of those situations right now where there's just a lot of uncertainty in the market. Does it make me a little bit nervous? Yes, but business is risky. And so, that's kind of, I would say, normal. Mm-hmm. Even in a good time, you feel a little bit of nervousness.
Yeah.
So does it make me feel nervous to the point that I want to cancel a truck? No. I think we're still going to be able to, and you're going to see in the numbers here, like we're still breaking even.
Right. You're at least
really
operational.
A little better than breaking even. And so I think as long as we can maintain that, that means we'll be around when the next spike comes and we can take advantage of it. Plus, like I've said before, a lot of the time, some of the best opportunities happen in a down market. So I'm cautious. We're being a little bit more deliberate in some of the decisions that we make. But I'm not overly nervous.
Right. It's like, a couple of weeks ago when the Netflix stock tanked and I immediately called my brother who does my finances. I'm like, let's buy some Netflix. Yeah. It's perfect time. You never know. Who knows? All right. Well, good. So we'll keep an eye on truck 7 then as it's coming in. But truck 6 on the road, how many days now?
3.
Okay.
Not very many.
All right. So
just barely.
So it won't even factor into today's numbers that we're talking about.
And it'll factor a little bit into June's numbers, but not much.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, Chris, the last episode that we aired was a listener question episode where we had a bunch of people very generously give us their time. They called in. They asked a question. But that was all part of the 100th episode celebration. That's going to be going on for a few more episodes, right?
Will be, yeah.
We are not done with that. But you had a winner announcement for today, right?
Yes. So Daryl S. won the $100 for submitting questions. So that was anybody that submitted a question, anybody that submitted like a little bit of a story got entered into that. Daryl won. I actually, at the time of the recording this a few days ahead of the launch, I haven't heard back from him yet. Daryl. So if by the chance you're listening to this and you haven't checked your email, or maybe potentially the email got sent to junk mail because I put like, you won. So it probably got spammed.
You won these pills. I won't tell you what they do, but
this is a kid appropriate show, so I can't really say that.
This is an exclusive offer for you, Daryl. Open your email.
Yeah, so your spam may have caught this one, so check your spam mail. And with that being said, I'm heading out of town, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay on top of this for a little bit. If I haven't heard from you in a week or two, I will try to give you a call And we'll make sure you get the $100.
All right. So congratulations.
Even if your email doesn't want you to get it, we'll find a way.
So Daryl wins the $100. Now there is one more prize to give out, right? Because the people whose questions made it onto the show are entered to win $1,000.
Correct.
Right. And there were a whole bunch of T-shirts that went out already.
I to be honest with you, I need to follow up on the T-shirts. I know we've got everybody's address to send them out. I don't know if they've actually been sent out. Life's been a little hectic the last several weeks.
Something about summer. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Well, cool. Chris, let's get on to our topic for today, the May numbers. Now, you kind of hinted at this just a few minutes ago when you said, break even, maybe a little bit better. Things are not quite, it's not the fireworks that we were seeing a few months ago. So let's get into these numbers. Do you want to prep me for it or just dive right in?
Let's prep you for it a little bit. So it's kind of interesting because I started going through these numbers and looking at April's numbers, and I'm like, that was really close to April. Oh, that was really close to April. Oh, like I've never seen two back-to-back months that are almost identical.
Oh, man.
And it's almost identical.
So when we're talking about like miles and revenue and
all that stuff is very close.
Wow. So is that an indication of anything? I mean, what it makes me think is possibly the system is working. You guys have got a system in place, and it's, the machine is running. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. To me, the indication is that we're probably at a bottom out, right? You typically, when you have peaks and valleys in business, you get a peak and you get a valley, and you usually are at the top of the peak for a while before it starts to go down, or you're at the bottom of the valley for a little while before it starts to go up. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we're kind of, things have started to stabilize a little bit, and we're, I think we're probably June numbers, just kind of what I'm seeing so far. My gut's telling me that we're probably still in that flat spot at the bottom, but hopefully as the summer goes on, we hit July, August, September, numbers start to get a little bit better, especially getting into October, November, December.
Right. Now, do you know off the top of your head, do you have a number for how many months Haulin Assets could sustain kind of that trough? Like if this did last for 3, 4, 5, 8 months, when do you start to feel like, okay, time to, if not panic, at least worry?
So I think we could, right where we're at right now, and we'll talk a little bit about this as we get into the specific numbers, but I think right where we're at right now, we could sustain it indefinitely.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'd want to sustain it indefinitely because it's a lot of work for not getting a whole ton of reward. I mean, we've basically spent the last year, 18 months getting some pretty good rewards.
Right.
And now we're just kind of, chugging along. And financially, I think we could chug along like this for just about forever. Would we want to? Probably not.
Right.
But I don't, that never happens. I'm not worried about that happening.
All right.
But if we had to stay like this for a year, absolutely we could do it. It wouldn't kill us.
Right. Okay. Well, good to know. So if it was almost identical, walk me through it then. What does almost identical look like for May?
So let's talk total miles for this month. We're 58,859. That's 400 miles more than last month. Less than 1% difference.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so that's close. Deadhead miles, 3,489 miles, 5.9%.
Which is the same as last month.
Same percent as last month. It was 19 miles more
19
than last month.
That's amazing.
19 more Deadhead miles.
Okay, what was revenue looking like?
The total revenue was $141,998.48, which is $491.02 less than last month.
This is incredible.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's nuts. Like I saw this and I was shocked. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then what does that give us as far as a rate per mile?
The all-in rate was $2.41 a mile, which is a 3-cent drop. So again, that's less than.
Yeah, that's about 1%.
Yeah. Right about 1.
Wow. Okay. Margins of error and all that. Like it's okay. This isn't polling. So, but yeah, no, that's incredibly close.
It's very close.
Amazing.
All those numbers are very close.
So, was there anything that kind of differed from last month? I mean, obviously those kind of core numbers that we talk about all the time remained stable. But when we're talking about repairs or expenses,
there was one thing. Let's get into that. Let's talk about the net profit first. But there's one thing that was a little more different than last month.
Oh, right.
So,
net profit.
Yeah, net profit was $12,052.21. So about $1,700 less than April. So that's closer to the 10%.
That's more like a 10%.
difference.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a difference, but still not that much. And again, we talked a little bit about this last month, but I want to reiterate it again because it's a concept that oftentimes is a little bit more difficult to grasp. If you're looking at a P&L, your P&L does not show your truck and trailer payments. So like
that's
your loan
profit
payments.
and loss, ladies and gentlemen. Profit and loss.
Your profit and loss statement doesn't show directly. It's not like you can see trailer payment, truck payment as a line item on your profit and loss statement. What you do see is the interest expense that's part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Any loan payment's going to have a principal aspect and an interest aspect. So the interest shows on there, whereas the principal piece shows up on your balance sheet by the loan balance decreasing. And so what's ended up happening here, even though we had a $12,000 profit,
quote unquote profit,
most of that $12,000, if not all of it, I haven't looked exactly at how this shakes out, but most, if not all of that $12,000 is principal payments onto the balance sheet, paying off the truck and trailer loans.
Right.
And so what that says, or what that means, is that we probably, if you look at it a cash flow wise, we're probably pretty even.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have any more cash at the end of the month than we did at the beginning of the month, but we probably don't have any less. We're probably right about cash wise where we were.
So
one of these days,
in keeping with the theme of May being exactly the same as April.
Exactly the same. Start of the month, same amount of money in the bank as the end of the month.
Yeah,
basically.
All right. So what do you want to dig into with these numbers then? What went well? What went poorly this month?
So the biggest thing where the difference is in repairs. We had a pretty high repair bill this month. Let me give you the exact numbers. Let's see if I can find it here real quick.
Another deer hit your truck?
No, I think it's just a bunch of little things on several of the trucks. $7,172.48.
Okay. What's normal for 6 trucks out on the road? Or 5, I guess, at the time.
Yeah. That's hard to say because most of the trucks are still pretty dang new, and so we've basically got 2 that are older that are going to have repair bills on a more regular basis, and I would say about $2,000 a month in repair bills is pretty normal for those 2 to 3,000 total between the 2 of them.
Okay, I was just going to say.
So, we're a little bit more than double that. So I think that's a little bit of an anomaly. Yeah. Part of it was that one new truck that had the fuel pump, or not the fuel pump, the water and the fuel issue.
Yeah.
You remember us talking about that? Yeah. That was a roadside repair, so those are never cheap.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fuel, Chris, that was kind of the theme of the last financials episode, was just how crazy fuel expenses had gotten. Any relief on that? Because when you told me very clearly, look, what you see on the side of the highway is not necessarily the price that trucking organizations are often paying. So I get the sense that no, there hasn't been any relief just driving down the road, but maybe it's a little different.
So it's interesting. I looked at the numbers on fuel pretty extensively, and there was a slight drop. I think it was about 2,000. I think we went from 58,000 in April to 48,000 in May. So about $2,000 difference. With that being said, to me, that's pretty immaterial. I mean, it's a fairly small amount, and it could be, we may have, several of the trucks may have fueled like the very first day of May, and then also or the very last day of April, so they didn't need to fuel right at the beginning of May, and then you may have drained the tanks out right at the end of May and not had to fuel till June. So there's enough of a margin there that I think, to me, it's really basically it stayed the same. It was flat.
Okay.
So that's good. Again, I think that's maybe another indication that we've kind of hopefully are closer to the peak than we are otherwise. With fuel prices, that they're starting to stabilize a little bit,
right?
At least between now and the end of the summer.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Here's hoping. Cross our fingers.
So, and in looking over the P&L, I didn't see anything else that really kind of jumped out. But is there anything else that you want to pull out of there?
That's everything else was pretty normal. The other thing I want to say about the fuel is if we're looking at it as a percentage of revenue, like we've been talking about quite a bit the last several months, it was 34% in May, and if you remember correctly, it was 35% in April. So a 1% decrease. Again, that's not a big decrease. That's not too much of a change, but at least we're stable. We didn't go from like 2 months ago, we were at 25%, then we went to 35%. We're not at 45% this month.
Thinking big picture, when you're talking about a 1% decrease for a 5-truck fleet, that may not be that big a deal with the numbers you guys are dealing with. But you've talked before about making sure that however many trucks you have, whether it's 1 truck or you've gotten up to 3 or you're at 10 or whatever, you're laying the base, you're laying the foundation, building your habits, right?
Correct.
So keeping track of those fuel numbers and understanding what the 1% decrease means for your tiny little fleet means that you're setting that foundation, you're building those habits for yourself so that when you've got 100 trucks out on the road and a 1% decrease is a huge deal, dollar wise, you've built up those habits to be able to understand that, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So, Chris, what else do we want to talk about with May numbers?
I think that's pretty good with May numbers.
Okay.
I think I feel pretty good about where we're at this point. I do want to talk a little bit about a question that I'm getting asked on a little bit more regular basis because things are changing so much in the economy and people are starting to get a little bit more worried about it. So just want to give a little bit of my opinion, my insight. So the question that keeps getting asked is now a good time to start a trucking company?
Right.
And it's a complicated answer. The first thing I would say is it's definitely not as good now as it was a year or 18 months ago. But again, you can't really time those kind of things. You never know what's going to happen in the economy. I mean, it's a crystal ball. It's like trying to predict the weather. There's a lot of things that can happen. You just kind of never know.
Yeah.
So with that being said, there are some positive things that are coming out of it. Like right now, truck and trailer prices are kind of starting to stabilize a little bit. I think especially the used truck market, I think over the next several months is probably going to get better and better, more and more in favor of buyers than it has been the last little while.
Is that just as production has begun ramping up again, or because there are fewer people entering the market?
I think there's going to be fewer people entering the market, and so it's going to make it so that there's not quite as much demand on trucks, and you're gonna get better pricing on truck and trailers.
Yeah. Now you've said, especially in the early episodes, first 10, 20 episodes that we did, that the best time to start your trucking company is as soon as you're ready. Right. It's not, you would encourage people, at least in those episodes, not to worry so much about what is the market doing right now because markets are so cyclical.
Yep.
Right. So as soon as you're ready, jump in. Does that still hold?
Absolutely. If you've got your foundation set with a lot of things that we've been talking about, the time's right for you. And so get that foundation set. And when you're ready, you're ready. Don't worry so much about the economy. With that being said, I'd say there are a few things in this kind of economy right now where there's the potential that we could, where people are talking about going into recession, we could hit into recession. If that's the case, you want to make sure that you've done a really good job with your due diligence before you've got in. So you've got your money saved up, you've got, you're ready to go. But I would also say, especially if you're going to be relying on load boards, really thoroughly go through what your cost per mile is going to be. In the Motor Carrier HQ on our website, under the resources section, we've got a cost per mile calculator. Use that cost per mile calculator to try to predict exactly what it's going to cost you to operate, and make sure you can operate with a little bit of margin for error within what the revenue per mile, rate per mile you're getting on loads or what you're seeing on load boards. And if you feel like you can keep your costs down low enough, then now's as good a time as any. That's kind of the big thing, is just make sure you can operate within good economic principles.
Very good. Any other tidbits on this topic before we move off?
Let's see. So one of the other things that I would say is, a lot of the guys that jump into starting a trucking company, a lot of times they jump in because they've got a buddy that works somewhere where they can get access to loads. And I would say if you can get access to loads, typically that's the biggest hurdle that most people have to overcome. And if you can get to access to loads that pay decently, anytime's a good time to get in, because even in a down economy, if you can get access to those loads and you're working, especially if you're working direct with a shipper, you can usually get them at rates that are going to be under your cost per mile, and you might as well jump in, kind of get things going, even if it's in a recession. I've told this story before. We bought what Motor Carrier HQ has turned into. We bought that business in the middle of the recession in 2010, and we came out of it great because we learned how to operate in an economy when things were a little tighter. And if you can learn how to operate, and then it's going to make you that much better when things are good.
There you go. All right, Chris. Cool. Well, shall we wrap up the discussion of numbers and starting businesses and all that?
Yeah.
All right. So, Chris, you do have an impact tip for us today.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it's been a while.
I think it's been at least 2 episodes since we've had one. Yeah,
so my hands were shaking a little bit. I had my
You having withdrawals?
I had my impact tip needles all ready to go, but nothing to fill them with. So inject it right into my veins, Chris. What you got?
All right, sweet. This one's a little bit of a different one, but there's kind of a sad but cool story that goes along with it. So over the last several weeks, in my family, in our neighborhood, in our community, we've had a pretty tough situation. It's one of those things that's really kind of made you reflect on life and some things in life. We're pretty new in this area. We only moved in. It hasn't even been quite a year yet. And my youngest daughter, she's got this group of friends that she hangs out with, and some of them she knows more than others. Well, there was one girl that she was a year younger in school than my daughter, but they had mutual friends, and they'd be around each other on a fairly regular basis. I mean, we'd see her in our house every once in a while. Anyway, she passed away unexpectedly. And she was one of those people that was just mature beyond her years. Just a very thoughtful, considerate girl, and was really known really well throughout the community as being kind to other people and always going out of her way to be kind to, whether it was her siblings or friends, or making sure everybody wanted to be included. She always made friendship bracelets for everybody in her class.
Nice.
Just super nice girl. And it got me thinking and reflecting. I mean, when you see a young person like that taken away so early on in life, I was, to be honest with you, pretty shocked at how much it affected me. And it made me think a lot about her and her kindness and how she is. And at the funeral, that was kind of the reoccurring theme. And so I've thought a lot about being nice and being kind. And I've always said, not in these exact words, but how you interact with people and how you work with people has a big impact on how you do business. And so what the impact tip is be kind. It's good for business. It really is. If you're good to people and you're nice to people, whether it's your employees or your vendors or the customers that you do business with, the kinder you are to people, the more they want to do business with you, the easier they make things with you. And it's a good business practice. Yeah. So be kind.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a ton to add to that, but it's, okay, here's something I could add to that, Chris. I couldn't possibly agree more with what you've said. It is good business, et cetera, et cetera. But don't let your kindness get in the way of your business. Right. I just watched Con Air, which I'm sorry, classic 90s action movie. And the DEA agent is like prepping his agents to ship these prisoners, whatever. And he says, be fair, be firm, be vigilant. Anyway, but for some reason, when you were talking about that popped into my head. and be kind, but that also includes being kind to yourself. That doesn't mean you have to,
be taken advantage of. You don't need to be taken advantage of.
Exactly
being
what I was
kind
getting at.
doesn't mean being taken advantage of or a pushover. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can put your foot down and still be kind about it.
Yes.
And so, when you have to do that, when you have to be mean's not the right way, but firm about
firm.
things,
Firm.
You can do it in a respectful, kind manner.
This is
just
great.
like you do with everything else.
This is one of those times when I'm struggling for words and Chris comes in and saves me. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we need to mark this one down. Episode 105.
So I'm going to start paying you now, Chris. All right. Cool. Well, I think it's a good impact tip. I hope everybody takes that to heart. Do we have anything else we want to go over? Shall we cut and run?
I think that's probably good.
All right, let's do it. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Make sure you go to HaulinAssetsLLC.com. I'm going to say that slower for those of you listening at 1.5 speed. HaulinAssetsLLC.com. Go check it out for full show notes. You can also go to MotorCarrierHQ.com for the tools. Chris, you were talking about the rate per mile calculator, and there are, carry the two, about 3 million things that people can use over there on Motor Carrier HQ. So, yeah, please go check it out. And Chris, I will see you in a couple weeks.
I'll see you then.